everybody, I'm Haley.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we are recapping. Hi everybody, I'm Haley. Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Haley.
And I'm Kaylee.
And today, we're going to be talking about all the movies and shows we watched this month.
But yes, sorry, my chair is very creaky.
Damn, squeaker squeaks.
Squeak, squeaker. Squeak, squeaking. We're going to be talking about Severance again. We're going to be talking about the 3rd through 5th episode this time.
Well, the 5th one came out today, which
That's
we
the
didn't
6th
watch.
one.
Oh, we're almost done.
So we're going to be talking about that. Mm-hmm. And funny thing is, we're also going to be talking about a movie. We were going to make a full video, and we actually did record. And then Haley's audio decided that it wasn't good enough. So
it died.
It was like, you know what? Just do it again. And we'll do it again.
Fine.
We'll do it again.
If I can remember.
I know. I should have rewatched it because I don't remember what I was saying. It's not going to be as good, but that's what you get.
All our fans will just have to
cry
miss out.
silently. Anyways, let's talk about Severance.
Yes. Latest episode.
Let's talk about, you want to do episode by episode by episode or just talk about it in totality? I think we should do episode by episode.
Okay, right.
Episode 3.
They went outside.
Nope.
Oh. Surprise, surprise.
Episode 3. This is when Dylan gets to talk to his wife for the first time.
Yes.
Irving finds out about the exports hallway. The goat people is a thing. And Mark starts reintegration.
Yes.
That's what happens. Episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fine.
It's great. I'm not sure why Dylan is meeting his wife. I feel like that's going to cause complications. I mean, I know Mr. Milkshake is trying to be the nice guy, but I'm like, I just feel like, why would you set that up? Because what if they get curious? And then that's weird for the wife.
Very
and
weird for her.
Not Dylan being a loser, low-key in real life.
Well, we already knew that. Whenever my man couldn't get a job at the door place.
Well, they did hear he was severed, so that was kind of,
It started off wrong whenever he was like, we play kickball and we get little prizes. He's like, oh, you mean door prizes? And the guy was like,
he said, you know what?
You think this is a
Where
game?
Are you from again?
But yeah, so a terrible way because like I've been watching the show called Castle. I don't know why. I've been watching everything except what
Is that a medical one?
No. It's
What's
about
Castle?
He's an author and he like writes murder mysteries and he starts working with the cops.
Okay, I feel like that was a pretty popular one back in the day, right? Okay.
I've never seen it, so I'm like, I put it on to go to sleep. So,
okay.
What's going on? Don't know. But I have it on constantly. Anyways, he doesn't know who his dad is. And he's like, what's cool though, is like, I don't have just one dad. I have so many dads because I don't know what he does. I don't know what he is.
And he's like, makes it up.
Right.
Because
so
he's an author.
I feel like that's what Dylan was doing. Because there's multiple times in the show where he's like, man, I'm feeling fucking buff. My Audi must be working out. Mm-hmm. And little does he know, he's a loser. Oh. So disillusioned.
But his wife loves him.
Thank God. Because I would not.
Yeah, I guess when you have kids, she's settling down. She looks like a security guard or something. She said she was on her way to work. I don't know. Because I guess she works nights.
Yeah.
And he comes home and takes care of the kids.
You think there's going to be like a love triangle where she's going to start falling in love for any Dylan?
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of different, but the same. It's like the guy maybe she's always wanted. He has a little bit more drive because he doesn't have the ability to be anything
distracted by anything.
He has to do what he's doing, and they want more. So it is interesting the dynamic between their innie and outie because it's the same person, but it's not. Mm-hmm. It's like a different perspective. Anyway, So that was interesting. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna get any more visits though, because knowing what we know after the latest episode, Mr. Milkshake said,
Mr. Nice Guy.
No.
And then we get to the goat people finally. So there's more to it than just the guy.
Tarth. Sorry, she's from Game of Thrones. That's all I could see.
Oh, didn't see it, so wouldn't know.
Yeah, but we see the goat people. Not enough questions being asked, but it's fine.
But I mean, it makes sense because I'll save it anyways.
Okay.
But yeah,
I don't know. I feel like Helena, who we now know.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, spoiler alert.
We already knew that.
We knew that. Yeah. So I'll call her Helena. Mm-hmm. Helena. Yeah. So Helena, who when they were around the goats, I feel like she low-key was confused. I feel like she truly doesn't know some of the shit that goes down.
But that's why she also wouldn't ask questions either. Like, why would she want to ask questions?
Why wouldn't Mark?
Mark, on the other hand, probably just distracted because he wants to find his wife. Well,
I guess, but is that not part of it? I don't know. I'd be like, do you know what these goats are for?
I
guess they were kind of ambushed. They were serious. They were like, are you here to kill our goats? I'm like, whoa. how many employees are running around here killing these goats? To
or
where you have to
each
sit
other.
here.
Because
right? The
I
massacre.
don't get it. What kind of work environment y'all?
Remember the painting? They're like the massacre between. Well, I saw a theory.
Okay.
That's saying that they think that all of this, obviously
Is
they're doing some kind of mind control, there's stuff like that. But somebody was implying that they might be making soldiers of some sort, which is why when they have those little cards, they look like little flashcards, but they were like the fighting. Mm-hmm. So they think that somehow somebody is secretly getting trained, or they are training some people down there with the mind control that they have, which is why things happen. And maybe they're escaping and like snatching up the goats. Maybe they're coming up from the experiment floor. What's that with the dark hallway with a little air? What do they call that? They call the what? Export?
I think.
Yeah, that floor. I don't know. Because obviously Miss Casey's down there, but she's not the same kind. She's not, I don't think she's severed.
No.
She doesn't go out. So I don't think there's no other her.
There could be, but she doesn't exist.
Right.
Or is it Gemma, or is it not
right.
Gemma?
Yeah, I don't know if Gemma did really die and they were able to zap her mind back up.
And I feel like we're not asking these questions. Like even Mark with the other lady who's reintegrating folks, like she was like, oh yeah, the last time I saw her, she was alive. I'm like, so what's going on? Like, why is she here? Did y'all kill my wife or did you not? But instead he's like, okay, cool, reintegration. I'm like, can we ask backup, follow-up questions? Nothing?
Not. You know you can't do
not
that
in a show.
here.
Never that.
Not in a show. It's giving from.
I would say I would never get severed. But if I were to be severed, I would never get reintegrated until that woman has at least 1,000 patients under her belt that have not died.
Well, I did it once, but I perfected it now. I said, the guy is dead.
Yeah.
That was like her only patient?
That's what I'm understanding for.
But you know what? Bucket we ball.
No, not really. Actually, that's my brain.
Oh. Well, I guess, he found out his wife, there's a good chance she's alive. So he's like, you know what? I need to know. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it would just be this slow. Because then, of course, the next episode, like, nothing happens.
But yeah, so that's the end of episode 3. We get into the reintegration, and it's starting to work. Episode 4. Woe's Hollow. We get an outdoor excursion.
Yes, we do.
So I watched episode 3, and then me and Tristan started watching episode 4 together. I don't know if it was just the episode or maybe we were tired, but we fell asleep and woke up to a jump scare, bitch. I woke up to them having sex. I literally woke Tristan. I was like, oh my God, they're fucking. He's like, no.
Where have we been? You missed all day.
I did. The build up. Mm-hmm. But then honestly, watching it back, I was like, I don't miss shit.
No, wasn't even good.
It wasn't.
But yeah, they're basically allowed to go outside. But it was interesting. I was trying to see though, because there was a lot of Kier lore throughout the whole thing.
Right.
But I was
That's when we find out about a twin brother that we've never heard of before.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's true or not. Because
I don't think so.
Because then they were talking about he killed his brother or something.
His brother was dying.
Yeah, but in his eyeball. So I don't know how much that's like actually true.
And then we see Helena like laughing at Gailing, and like this is her lineage, so I don't think she thinks it's true. I mean, she wouldn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Is she? Because Mr. Milchick knows that's Helena or Helena, and so was he actually mad at her? Or
I think he was a little bit.
To your point, she's like, "What the fuck are they feeding y'all?"
Yeah.
But okay, whatever. And he's probably in his mind like, "Man, this is our official documents. Like, this is what I have to teach them." Yeah. Like the teacher in the class. She's like, what history is this? So is that why she was laughing? She was just
or
like, okay.
I don't know if it was like because of that or because she's trying to be Helly.
That's why I didn't know. Like, is she trying to be the outspoken Helly? Is a little bit of both? Because I mean, that is technically who she could be. Mm-hmm. She clearly has that fieriness on both sides. It's just directed in different places because of her perspective.
Right.
If she's innie or outie. So I'm sure they're similar in ways, but obviously not.
Right. There's the weird twins that they have following, like the doppelgangers, yes. Which was...
Is this real life? Were they in a simulation?
So. I think so.
Okay. Or did they have people dress up like them? Because this is a weird they're weird. I believe
they didn't look
would
like
have
people.
Folks. Yeah, they were kind of off.
Yeah, they looked AI generated.
But that's why I was like, I couldn't tell if they were holograms or some kind of...
I don't think this was real.
Yeah, like they were in some kind of joint brain hallucination and they thought that they were outside.
Because like, unless it's a real place, but whenever they completed like the little numbers thing, there's that pixelated Kier moment where he's like standing on a lake. That's the lake that they were at.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's real or not. So that's why I'm like, I'm not sure if this is a real life thing. It is cold and wintry over where they are because everybody else is cold in the real life.
So it would make sense, but like how would they get these
cold? I don't know.
people, unless it's some of these weird people they've created in the lab that they just have running around.
That look AI generated. They need to get together.
Yeah.
How much money is Lumen funneling into this shit? And this is the best y'all got? Crazy.
They said, listen.
Do better. Oh, and D.
Just for the itties. We don't care.
Right.
But yeah, then they go and find books and read stories and the marshmallows.
We'll fast forward.
Stuff. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Helena and Mark have sex. And he sees
Why would she have sex
Gemma.
with him?
Because she wants to. She wants love.
Is that what she wants? Are we saying that she's kind of intrigued by the romance her innie's having? She just wanted to get some?
That's what I think her only... Because I now it's like, was she always Helly? Or were there times where she was Helena in the first season? Was this the only time where she switched? Where now it's like, when she went down there in the second season, it wasn't her.
Think so.
Well, that's what I would like to know. Because I don't know. Maybe she was
been in when we didn't know it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Because then I saw some theories of like, oh, she can be pregnant now? Assuming this wasn't a doing hallucination, but she can be pregnant and give forth some kind of Kier baby descendant.
Does that mean that Mark has some stake in the company now?
Does that mean he is the owner of Lumen Enterprises? But no, because I guess apparently in the introduction there's like babies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so people are like, babies in the introduction.
There's lots
obviously. And in the first season, I saw it when I went to look at it. There's a point where Mark is watching the news and it's Natalie on TV talking to CNN, and she's talking about how an innie got pregnant, and he's like hounding Natalie about that, and she's like defending Lumen, but it's just on the news, and people are like, well, it is possible for an innie to get pregnant because it has happened before, and that was a whole, I won't say lawsuit, but it was a thing. So that's where they're like, is this hinting? And then with the babies in the beginning, is she going to be pregnant? And then that would be terrifying because then that means if Helly's down there, then she'll be pregnant, but she wasn't even really there for the conception. She doesn't even know that they've had sex yet. There's the tea it's boiling.
Right.
It's bubbling up.
And then that's when we get to the end. Because I feel like that was the only cool part. I don't care about Irving's dream, whatever. He's the only one who's asking questions. He's like,
yes.
So what was the night gardener wearing? Did he have a flashlight? Was he wearing a vest? Everybody's like, Irv, chill, bro. Yeah. I'm like, why are y'all not asking more questions?
Let's ask questions. But also, she couldn't come with a better lie.
Nothing.
You're telling me the daughter of this company, the smart ass company, and all the deception and deceit, and she came up with the night gardener, and I was just in my apartment and went inside.
Because my girl wasn't ready.
She wasn't. She must not know that Helly would have torn around and tried to find anybody. Because I'm like, you're telling me she just saw her apartment and went back up?
Right. She said,
I just was like, I was in sweatpants watching the Nature Channel. Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, so because everybody's like trying to find people and you just didn't do anything.
Right.
But
and then, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you think though, because at one point in the tent, because before it was found out, she was like, well, I just didn't like who I was, and he was like, well, blah blah, no matter what, baby girl, he's trying to get that good goods, and he gonna tell her whatever she want to hear. But I'm like, do you think that was really Helena not kind of questioning who she is, or do you think she just like said that?
No, I think
to say it to
watching
make something up.
Helly and Mark's relationship bloom and seeing like how easy it is for her to laugh and giggle and joke around. I think that's when she was like, oh, I kind of miss being able to do that. I don't think she's seen as somebody who could be goofy, silly Helly. She has to be Helena Egan. Like it's very important for her to be that way. So I think it was probably true. Like she's like jealous of her innie because she gets to have that freedom that she does not have. So
that's true. I don't think she's really kind of
her circumstances.
Yeah, going back and forth with that a little bit.
But ending, finally, something happened. Fucking Irving's like, this weird.
1 + 1.
Because, Helly was silly, but she wasn't mean, bitch. Mm-hmm. So who the fuck are you? Egan drowns her ass? Crazy work.
How does he know she's Egan?
Because he was like, who would be powerful enough to do this?
Oh, that's right. Because I don't know. I feel like that was a slight jump.
A little bit, for sure.
Because I'm like,
who else would have the ability not to be an innie?
It could be anybody higher up. I don't know. For him to go straight to the Egan, you're an Egan descendant. I'd be like, oh, well, because even Natalie could do that. Natalie's up there.
That's true.
Does whatever she does. Or I don't know if she's up there. She just is the messenger. But,
yeah.
But yeah, that's why I was like, But okay. And then he finds that out, and I'm surprised Mark didn't notice. I mean, they talk about it later, but I'm like, not Mark. But he's so blinded by his pee-pee. Sorry.
And that's where I was like, it is kind of interesting how Dylan is different for Dylan's wife, but Mark couldn't tell the difference between Helly and Helena. Right. And so it's like, ugh.
I think he's so caught up in his
whatever's going
whirlwind romance that he almost wants to force it. Because, of course, if you admit that that's not really Helly, then you have all this problems going on. But Irving, they even said, don't forget, Irving on the outside was in the military.
Yeah.
He'll play that. So I don't know if he has low-key, subconsciously has those skills of just like noticing things and being very observant.
So that's when we find out that it's in fact Helena, and they switch her back to Helly, and Helly's like, what's going on? Why am I dying?
You know, she's shook. The last thing she remembers is being torn off the stage. And she wakes up, she's getting drowned underwater.
Kind of what she gets, because one time Helena woke up to herself dying. So
right. She did try to kill herself.
So there you go.
I remember. She did try to get rid of herself.
I forgot to mention in the episode 3, it is currently February, Black History Month.
Poor Mr. Milchick.
Not the blackface Egan.
He said, and Natalie said, she was like, I feel like it's a really good, because I was listening to somebody on TikTok talking, because I guess she reviews Black characters in film and movies and stuff like that. And she was like, how do they do Black characters in Severance? Like, are they doing it well? And it was interesting because up to this point, race has not been mentioned.
Right.
Like, all the characters that are Black are just characters. Like, they're not overly done. But she was like, but I do like how they kind of brought it in, like, oh no. But not in a way that's like, how do I say? Like, it seems like it would make sense. Because it seems like Mr. Milchick, up to this point, is like, he's trying his best, trying hard, you know, living his life. And then it's kind of like, you get that, and you're like, oh, is I'm just still how they view me? Right. And I think that's when it kind of hit him, like, I don't need all this for them to sit here and make Kier Black to be like, you know, I wonder if they make Kier a woman. Like, or do they do all these things?
That's what I want to know.
I want
to know. Like other races too.
Yeah, other races. I mean, he does bring it up with Natalie later, but it's like he kind of looked towards Natalie of like, as another person of color, like, hey girl, what is this?
What are we doing?
She said, they're glad you like it. Yeah, so it was interesting, but kind of bringing that in, I want to say subtly, because obviously that was not subtle at all. But it's like, that's the first time that I think race has been presented in the show.
I think so,
as
too.
Like being noticed. I don't know. I like Mr. Milchick.
We'll get into then episode 5, which is about Mr. Milchick's performance review and where he is being graded on what he's been doing.
Yep.
And like he was saying, he did not want to be Miss Cobell. He wanted to give them freedom. He wanted them to feel like they had a lot more say in what goes on. And they're basically like, don't do that, actually. Work. Because...
I mean, well, it doesn't seem like much of it works.
At all.
But okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm getting, so, you know, it looks like Mr. Milchick is now going to have to turn on Mr. Bad Cop.
He said, does she know that you were fucking? I was like, oh, Mr. Milchick.
You heard us?
Were you watching?
Are you in the back? Breathing heavy?
You crazy.
Ooh, but it's interesting because it seems like they're still pushing. Like, the only reason they're all down here is because they want Mark to complete. What is it?
Cold Harbor.
Which I forgot. Somebody online said what that was, but...
Oh, like what Cold Harbor's...
Yeah.
Oh.
What is it again? They're saying that their theories were aligning with it. So it is a historic district in Virginia, a Civil War battle site. It just says it's one of the final battles, so.
Of the Civil War?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So people have like their theories, but I think they're just talking about how if it's something about not a war, but he's winning something, he's completing something, but what is he doing? Because I think the general consensus of what they're doing with the refining is everybody thinks that that is people's minds. I think we talked about this.
Yep.
And because there's four
categories.
What is it of the mind, or four that you have to tame?
The tempers.
So they think that they're mining the tempers, and they're like putting them in the group. So kind of a bunch of maybe Miss Casey's down there that they're kind of mining. So I don't know if he's completing. Obviously, him and Miss Casey have to do something with each other. I don't know if they're experimenting with them too. So
we do have a lot of interesting language in the 5th episode, because this is where they have Irving's funeral. And Miss Wong is like, I don't think you should be doing this, because it makes them feel like people.
Humans. And they're like, but they're not. And I'm like, but they are.
Right.
But they're not, but they are.
And then the other guy, I think his name's like Mr. Drummond. I don't know. The guy with what I thought was a wig, but I think it's just his hair. He was giving Mr. Milchick his performance review, and he's like, they're doing very important work. Like, you know what these severance workers are, blah, blah, blah.
I'm like, what are they?
So, like, I don't know if this is just the dissociation language of, like, big companies where people aren't people, or if it's literal.
Yeah. Or if they know something we don't about the innies. But it's like, obviously, they're human to an extent that they are physically human.
Yeah.
But to your point, are they just seeing them as like they're worker bees, and we are to not encourage their own personal development and growth, because that's not what they're here for.
Yeah. Because also what I'm thinking now too, why does Irving know about like exports and like the testing center or whatever? Like, you know, the elevator that leads down there, whatever.
His Audi is doing some serious digging.
Right. And now I'm wondering, like, are we sure that these people are real people?
On the outside?
Yeah.
You think Irving on the outside is not real?
Maybe now that he's been fired, it is him. Even Bert, whenever he finally talked to Irving, he's like, oh yeah, whenever I was fired. First of all, I'm not going to dinner with you and your husband. That's weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
But he's like, yeah, I got fired for having an erotic relationship, which I think is interesting because like whenever they fired Irving and Dylan, they never really told them why, but they told Bert exactly why. But whenever Bert was leaving, he said, oh, like, you know, it's time for me to retire, blah, blah,
that's
blah,
what
blah,
he
blah.
thought it was
So
on the inside.
Different people having different reactions. I don't know. Maybe they're just not, maybe that's what they're testing, like to see if these people could get around in the world. And maybe what they're refining is themselves. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand what we're doing yet. And I'm getting a little antsy and a little bored. I feel like we're seeing things that we've already seen before. Like the reintegration stuff. I'm like, we saw this with Petey. And we got nothing from that.
But we're going to get something from it now with Mark.
I'm hoping so. I'm getting bored. Ugh.
I feel like they're in the setup phase. I think once we hit that point, it's going to start rolling. But I do get it. They do need to set things up. We do have Mr. Milchick. His character's developing. We have pieces slowly cut. We have a few new characters. We're slowly kind of piecing things together. So I'm going to let it cook a little bit. Yeah. Now, if it keeps continuing, then I'm going to be like, okay. But I do understand, like, okay, we are building a little bit for the second season. So if it starts to get the ball rolling a little bit, then I can see I feel like the next episode and so on are going to be a lot more.
I hope so. Because that's how I felt watching the first season the very first time. I was bored in the beginning. I was like, bro, when are we getting anywhere? But it picked up. And I'm hoping that it does with this one. But I don't know. After the fifth episode or the fourth episode when they're outside, I was like, girl.
Yeah, it was a little slow. I think it's because when we've set up expectations that we have all these answers we want to know, anything that's like preventing us from just getting to those answers, I think we're like bored or like, I don't care. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to slow down because I know that they're building, but I know things are meaningful. So it's kind of like when I watch From and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to know what the fuck's going on. They keep doing shit. Yeah. So I have to slow down.
I'm ready for something to happen. I'm trying to feel myself. But I might also just be in a bad mood.
That happens.
Yeah.
Quite frequently for you.
Depression. Anyways.
All right, let's move on.
To Companion. You want to talk about Companion?
God. Yeah.
Hello, Editing Kaylee here. I just wanted to hop in and let you know what's about to happen. So I've decided to add in clips from our companion video that we recorded. So Haley's audio is going to sound a little funky because it's coming straight from her camera. But when we were recording our monthly recap, we had issues. Haley's camera died. I was running out of storage. So we took a break for like 2 hours and then came back with zero energy and zero brain power to remember anything that happened in Companion. And I really wanted to give that movie some justice because we both really enjoyed it. So I'm going to add in some clips. Be warned, Haley's audio is a little funky, but I'm going to show you some clips now of my cat, Isla, my daughter that you missed, and also me getting engaged again for the second time to the same person on camera. So it's like I couldn't add those clips in there. You know what I mean? February was the month of love. Might as well. Any users. So stay tuned for Companion clips. It's not going to be like the best review, but it's better than nothing because we gave nothing. Enjoy. So Companion is about
Don't. Okay.
I know.
First of
No
all, spoilers. Because they got me online. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was so mad. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody online was talking about it as if it was like common knowledge.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then I watched it. I said, first of all, how'd they know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so spoilers. Literally don't know anything about this movie. Just watch it if you want to watch it. But we're going to be spoiling it from literally here on out. So do not cry. Don't come for us.
Mm-hmm. I'll give a non-spoiler synopsis. Okay. It's about a group of friends getting together. There's some couples there. And then someone gets murdered. That's basically what happens in the non-spoilerly way.
Yes,
but
watch it.
Anyways, Haley, what did you think about this one? Overall,
I really liked this movie. I thought it was really good. Kept me on my toes. It didn't really go where I kind of knew where we'd end up in the end, but how we got there wasn't what I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. I liked the main character development. I thought it was a really interesting tweak on kind of like the AI or, like robot AI, humanoid AI stuff. So, I personally liked it. What about you, Kaylee?
I also liked it.
Did you? Oh my god, I was scared you weren't going to like this one.
No, I really did like this one.
I love this one.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. I thought it was quirky. This is like my type of horror. Like, especially like...
Is this horror? I thought it was more of a thriller.
Yeah, I would say like thriller horror. It's a fine line between those things.
Right. Let's talk about how... I like the idea of her settings as a robot. Like, just her in general. Like, this is a world where... people have these humanoid robots as companions, and they can just kind of do whatever you want, and they can be your companion, and then you can have relations with them, and then you dress them, and then they just act however you want. You can change eye color, language, intelligence.
Which is crazy.
Which is wild. It's just the whole concept. I mean, not that we're like far away from that, but... it just made it... I felt like it was very realistic of what, if you were to have one, what it would be like.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. Not telling you the weather. The only thing that tripped me up is, like, them not knowing.
That was what was interesting.
A little, like, okay.
Because I feel like a lot, especially, like, now, we're getting a lot of AI robot movies because, obviously, it's a very hot topic. But... usually in movies, they are very aware that they are a robot, that they're here to serve the human, blah, 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 blah. But in this one, it was like they just thought they were in a relationship with somebody, which I think brings in that ethical line, because it's like this is kind of like Severance, where you're bringing someone into life, and then like you also have the ability to yank that cord whenever you want to without really killing anybody. Because like with Severance, like it's the same person, but they have two different experiences, and if you stop coming to work, then that person no longer exists and they basically die. And so with this one, like them trying to pin a murder on her just to reset her factory settings and then be like, oh, bye, you're like, I guess discontinued or whatever. It's like it brings in that ethical dilemma of like, is it really nice or ethical to do something like this even though it isn't real? But she doesn't know that she's not real, which I think is pretty fucked up. Imagine somebody being like, Haley, you're not real. Or I guess it would be you. Haley, you're not real. And you're like, yeah, I am. And then you say something.
And then all my memories are just fake.
Crazy. She's like, no, I went to school. He's like, I just picked your personality.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really interesting because Iris was very unsure of herself. Right. She seemed to really dote on... Josh a lot. Just a little quirky, but I don't know if he picked her because of that, because he wants somebody who's more insecure than he is, and that makes him feel better, because obviously at the end we found out that Josh is just this big asshole who thinks he's a good guy, but he's not, and he's willing to do whatever it takes for money and for himself, which is actually insane. So it was interesting to see like that's who he picked. So my only conclusion is that Josh is like wants somebody who just loves him and just makes him look better, I guess.
Yeah. It was definitely giving like the abuser relationship dynamic between the two of them, especially at the very end when he was like, you would be nothing without me, which is technically true. Like if he never picked her out and like gave her all this, like, she wouldn't be here. But it was giving that abuser.
Right, because of the circumstances. You're like, well, that's not, sir. Yeah. It's not you renting and saying, you don't even own the robot you bought. So the plan was Sergio is Kat's boyfriend. And Kat is the side chick to Sergio. He has a wife and everything. But anyway, they're going to kill Sergio so they can take his money that's like hidden behind a safe behind a painting. And so Sergio and Iris are on the beach. Sergio is going to take advantage of Iris and she kills him. But my thing is, let's say Iris killed him. They put Iris to sleep. They reboot her. Yeah. They think there's no trace. They think that a company that's making robots is not going to go out of their way to ensure that this was not the fault of their robot. Because if you are going to basically accuse probably a multi-billion, trillion-dollar company that has robots, that their robot is capable of killing somebody, why the hell do you think they're not going to go to the ends of the fucking earth to figure out what happened? And you think they're not going to find your raggedy-ass fucking mod that you found off the internet somewhere and clearly interrupted her. I'm sorry. Yeah. This was never going to work. Yeah. Because they literally said, oh no, they capture everything on video. They didn't even know where, he didn't even read the manual. Yeah. So it doesn't even matter about anything. They would have gotten got anyways.
Yeah. I feel like if you're going to do this crime, you should at least read the manual, see if there's any cameras. Please. Or anything.
Why do you think this company is, their lawyers are not about to sit here and go, we're not going to be blamed for this.
That's why I like at the end where the guy's like, what do you think happened there? Oh, like, I don't know. Like, I think he probably just blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, like, what do you think happened? He's like, oh, they're fucked. Like,
no, he's like, nah, he killed me.
I like that part. Yeah. It was so funny.
Because they weren't actually dumb. They're just like, okay. Like,
they're like, we're not the police, actually, so we're just going to leave.
Yeah, they're like, are you okay?
Right.
All right, let's go. Because I'm like, the things they see, he literally said, oh no, people have this shit in the basement. Can you imagine the horrors?
But then it comes into like the ethical dilemma, right? Where it's like, is it better to have it as like a humanoid robot than a regular human? Of course. But then that humanoid robot doesn't also know that it's a robot.
If we're assuming the robot has this level of consciousness that these robots have, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Just because you could reset them. If we were to get robots, are people, because I don't think it's that, I think people would be more comfortable with showing who they really are. Because to me, I have absolutely no desire to sit here and abuse anything like that. If you give me like a robot and you're like, oh, you could do whatever, I don't have a desire to sit here and do something like that.
It is kind of interesting to think about, like, some people's first reactions is to either have sex with it or hurt it. Because that's literally what Joshua was like. He's like, it wasn't for the sex. And then immediately after he set her up, that's what he did. So it's like, why is that the first inclination for some of these people to be like, oh, I'm going to fuck it or I'm going to hurt it?
Right.
Scary.
Notice how none of the women had a robot.
Ooh.
Well, there's only one woman. But still, she's not looking good either.
Yeah.
She literally had the audacity to side-eye Iris because she was like, wow, it just makes me feel replaceable. As if she's not the side chick. She literally just...
You're right. She has no leg.
Girl, she literally just got done talking about how Sarah Jo has a wife. She's over here sitting in this man's bed talking about, oh, you make me feel replaceable. You're a side chick.
Yeah.
The wife should be feeling this way. Because aren't you doing essentially what Iris is doing? Mm-hmm. So, which is the irony. Because I'm like, girl, Kat, shut up.
Yeah.
She's talking about, oh, because she's a sex bot. What are you, baby?
Oh.
What are you? So do you think he really loved her?
No.
Because why would he want to say goodbye like that, though?
I think it's like that control type of thing. I think he likes to prove that he's smart. Like, I feel like obviously he feels like he's not good enough in different realms. So I feel like he wanted to brag about how, oh, like, no, you're a robot. Like, what's the point of like ruining her whole life just to reset her? Like, you didn't have to do that. But I think he's just cruel. He's like the people torturing the robots downstairs in their basements, but like
just in a different way.
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything else?
No. I mean, I really liked it.
Me too.
I thought it was funny.
It was a good time.
I didn't even giggle too much. I was giggling.
I was too.
Especially when Josh reset Patrick with him and then it switched the story. They were dancing. I was like, this movie is good. It's good. It would have, imagine this is like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
I could totally see that being, I mean, not quite the same vibe, but like it was up there with like, I would say like the good seasons of Black Mirror. Like this would be one of those.
But the technology being like a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of biting you in the ass. But I'm glad at the end she just seemed like she wanted to be free. So I'm glad they didn't go like the evil robot route where now she's like gonna kill humans and gonna take over the world. Like
for blood.
Right. I do like how it was kind of more of her personal growth and now she's kind of accepted herself and you know she has her own autonomy now because the worker gave it to her. But no, overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining, and I did not have high expectations for this movie at all.
Me neither.
I didn't know what it was.
I was just intrigued because of the trailer, because it really showed nothing.
I didn't know what was going on. I thought from the trailer they were going to be like a killer couple. Yeah. And they're going to be like really weird. I would definitely recommend. I give this like a 4 out of 5.
But yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5 as well. I just had a good time with this one. I thought it was just a fun, quirky movie that I liked. I don't know.
I like to say I would totally watch this again. And I don't like watching movies. But I feel like watching it back.
Rewatching stuff.
I hate rewatching unless I forgot the whole thing. So I'm not rewatching it. But I feel like I can go back and you could see even more stuff. Just
Yeah.
like a little hints, things here and there.
I just feel like it made the tired trope of like robots or AI into something a little bit different. Because like we're getting a plethora of them now. Like I started that movie that you mentioned in our recap with Megan Fox where she's a robot. Right. And it's like it's the very like good robot gone bad type of stuff. So I like this rendition of it where it's like she doesn't even know that she's a robot. Her whole world kind of crashes and then she's just trying to fight for her survival. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. I really don't have any notes, it's just go watch it. It was good.
It was really good.
I mean, if you made it this far, then you probably already got
hopefully, because we just spoiled the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd still recommend.
We would.
Anyways, I did watch a movie. It was called My Monster.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Okay.
What do you think it's about? I want you to guess.
My Monster. Is this some kind of psychological thriller?
No, it's a love story. It's a rom-com.
Because the true monster
is love.
Is within.
Oh, period. Maybe.
I don't know.
Basically, it's about a woman. In the very beginning, she's getting out of the hospital. Why? She had some kind of cancer in her intestines. Her boyfriend of how long? 5 years broke up with her in the hospital after she had surgery for the cancer.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Is that not insane? 5 years?
Wow.
Crazy. Anyways, they're both in like the music theater world and he's writing a play and he was creating a play with her in mind as a lead character. Mm-hmm. And then she obviously gets broken up with, moves back home to her childhood home. And there she meets a monster, literally a monster.
Where?
In her house.
In the closet under the bed. Is it a scary monster or is it a cute monster?
He's ugly.
Okay.
Scary. There you go. I'll answer that.
Sorry. He's nice.
No, he's mean at first.
Oh, yeah. At first. Enemies to lovers.
They are.
Wait, she falls in love with this monster?
Yep. So yeah. So basically it's about her trying to get into this role, also falling in love with this monster, also semi-falling in love with her ex. It's pretty good. But yeah, so that was Your Monster. I would recommend. A lot of people really liked it last year. It came out in October of last year. People really liked it. So I checked it out for Valentine's Day. But anyways, what'd you watch?
I watched The Gorge. Apple TV.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it came out like last week.
Yeah.
Or this past weekend. Mm-hmm. So pretty interesting premise. There are two secret assassins / military workers, but there's two, one boy, one girl. Mm-hmm. Both of them are posted up in this place that they don't know where they're at. They're like these towers, and they basically have to watch a gorge.
You don't say.
You don't say, yes. So I guess I won't get into it too much, but basically.
Oh, you recommend?
It's not the best movie, but it's definitely a movie like you could watch on like a Saturday, Sunday where you're chilling and just like, nothing else. It's like intriguing enough because one is on the West Tower, one is on the East Tower, and in the middle is the deep gorge, and it's just covered in fog, so you can't see through it. And they're not supposed to communicate because it's supposed to be one side. The Americans send their guy to watch the West Tower, and then the Europeans send somebody on their other side for the East Tower. They have like a treaty. So like you have an American and a European of some sort, because I guess all of the countries pitch in to send somebody once every year. But the watchers,
that's fantasy.
Right. Oh. Sorry. But the watchers, they get switched out every year. So it's like a year contract.
That's not bad.
So they show up, but of course it's a boy and a girl. They're both cute.
They fall in love.
You're alone for a year. Because mind you don't talk to anyone else. You're literally on your side of the gorge. There's no way to get over unless you do what they do. And you like figure out a way to get over there. But there's technically no way to get over there. You just have like a garden. You're supposed to hunt for your own food. Survive. And then also like make sure nothing comes out of the gorge. Because they hear screams. There's like stuff going on down there. And your only job is to make sure nothing comes out. And to make sure that the like guns on the side of the wall, the sensors are working. And you just replace everything. Like you're maintaining your wall, your side of the place. So they, of course, kind of start a little romance. They're not supposed to be talking, but fuck it. We ball. And long story short.
Love wins.
Yes. And, they may or may not fall into the gorge. Anyway, so it was cute. It was cute. It was a cute little movie. So if you have nothing else to watch, go watch it. It's on Apple TV. So it's interesting enough.
I do want to tell you about this book I read.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's called Unhinged.
When was it written?
Ooh, I don't know. Recently, I think.
Has to be recent.
In the 2020s.
Okay. In the unhinged era of the 2020s. Right?
And Unhinged it is. It's only 70 pages. It's a romance.
Okay.
It is about a woman and a door.
What do you mean?
It's about a sentient door. A door who's aware that he's a door, that's in love with his tenant.
Does it talk?
No, he's a door. Do they have sex? Yes.
How?
No talking, just fucking.
Wait, how do they know there is communication? Does the door like move a little bit? She walks by and he like brushes her butt. And she's like, I knew you were there. I sense
His knob jiggles
his
a little
knob
bit.
just, you know, she.
Okay.
What do you mean?
So the backstory of how the door is a person, or sentient,
As the door's a person.
is that Zeus had sex with a tree. That tree got chopped down. Well,
It didn't die
right.
in the chop down. It just transformed.
It had children. Like, he's not the door. The door is
Not the tree.
right.
The door is a descendant
Is of the tree and of Zeus having sex. Correct. So he's a child of the tree and Zeus. The tree got chopped down, became a door. And that's how he has sentience. That's how he's aware of what's going on.
The door is
door.
sentient, but can't speak, can't
So,
talk,
right.
can't move.
We're in the door's perspective the entire time. So basically, he's like looking through life, and the landlord of this apartment complex, because that's where he's at, is creepy. The door sees the landlord luring women out into the woods, and then he never sees the women again. He's like, that's weird. The landlord has a very special interest in Tana, who's his tenant.
There's a tenant currently.
Yes.
And the door has a special interest.
Exactly. So the landlord and the door have
Fighting. He's
Right.
like slamming in the landlord's
kind
face.
of. There's moments where he's like, I just wish I could.
But he can't.
Right. So one day,
He
yes, it's a man.
Okay.
He has a knob.
had a knob. Twist.
Something that
Pull.
it's not a pull. It's definitely got a.
It's got a bulge.
You're having so much fun with this.
Sorry,
So,
continue.
One day, Zeus comes down. We don't know it's Zeus until the end. He just is like some random dude comes from the sky and he starts talking to me. But it's Zeus. He talks to the door. He's like, hey, like,
Hey, son.
basically, he's like,
Sorry about that.
basically, that's what he says. He's like, but if you want to be a human, you have to get the woman that's in there to have sex with you as a door.
It's giving Princess and the Frog.
Right. With
Tenant and the door. Ho and a dough.
no, ma'am.
No.
Oh, and the dove.
Ho and a dough. 3-part series. Okay,
So-
continue.
And so he's like, you need to have her have sex with you as a door. And I'm going to give you one chance to have a conversation with her in her dream. So that's what happens. He becomes a man in her dream, and he's seeing the dream take place. And it's like her in a school, and she's naked in school, and she's like all embarrassed. And he goes and he picks her up, and he starts talking to her.
Is she a child at school?
She's a grown woman.
Okay.
So he starts talking, and he's like, hey, I'm your door. And I want to be a human. Basically, will you have sex with me? And she's like, what is this? What are we talking about? He's like, so your landlord, creepy. He likes to take your underwear and steal them. Like, he's dangerous, Tana.
Mm-hmm.
You need to change me so I can protect you. She's like, what the fuck? She's like, this is weird.
Right.
Dream's over. She wakes up the next day, side-eyeing the door. Obviously, as you would. Because weird.
Is it the bathroom door? Is it the bedroom
It's
door?
the front door.
Not her getting freaky. You know, the neighbors are like, why is that knob
Why
on the other side?
jiggling? So Tana leaves for the day. The landlord busts in with his, like, you know, his
Yes, he
skeleton
does.
key.
Right.
And he spikes her orange juice with some kind of drug. He takes her underwear, sniffs it, is trying to walk out with it, drops it, leaves. Tana comes home, sees her underwear on the floor, and then
Knows there's
she's
a
like,
thief afoot.
she's like, oh, that's weird. I had a dream about a door telling me that my landlord comes in and takes my underwear, and now my underwear's on the floor. Weird. So she's like, that night, we'll test it out. She has sex with the door.
Okay. She
Has sex with the door.
does what I would assume she would do.
Right.
Wait, was she enjoying it? Was the door also?
Yeah.
Or the door was like, bro, it's like his nose. He's like, please.
It's not his nose.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's having a good Nothing happens. She goes to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden he becomes a man. And there's
the door is gone.
No door. Right. She's like, who the fuck are you? Where's my door? He said, it's me. She's like, weirdo. Anyways, long story short, the cops get involved because they're like, there's missing women. And they're like, oh, I think it's the landlord. And the door and Tana, you know, they're falling in love. They're trying to figure things out. And they get into a heated battle with the landlord. The landlord has a gun, shoots the door. The door becomes a door again.
No. She said, hold on. Just wait, give me a second.
So they arrest the landlord. The door goes into evidence, and it takes her a long time for her to get the door back. And she has sex with the door and brings it back as a man. Okay. And she's like, Zeus's wife, I forget who it is, but she comes down and she tells Tana, like, hey, if you want him to come back as a man, you have to have sex with him on every full moon because he'll be a door every full moon. And you have to have sex with him to bring him back as a man. Right. So he's like a werewolf door. Okay. A were-door.
She's like, all right.
Yep. And
that's it?
Yeah.
And they live happily ever after.
They do.
Don't let the door hit you.
Or do.
Where the good Lord split you.
Right where it splits you.
And you read this.
I did.
You found this where?
So, okay. This is what happened. This is why I think it was destiny for me to read this. Follow me. I've heard of this book before on TikTok. Obviously.
Yeah.
But that was like months ago, maybe a year ago. Who knows? Time, weird. I was at lunch with a coworker and we were talking about book talk, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, did y'all hear about that one book where like they have sex with the door? They're like, yes, blah, blah, blah. That day, I'm like, Tristan, I haven't read my Kindle in a long time. Let me go ahead and pop it up. I get on my Kindle Unlimited.
Look what you see.
The first thing I see is Unhinged. I was like, this is a sign. It was free. I was like, fuck it. I'll read it.
Because it's
the
Unhinged.
Whole time. Giggling, kicking my feet.
You know, I respect that. I respect that hustle.
You know, somebody has to do it.
Somebody has to write that so you could read it and so you could tell me.
Yes, you're welcome.
And on that note,
did you watch anything else?
Watching Gilmore Girls.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's like a really chill show, wholesome.
Not like Unhinged at all.
Never that. None of that foolishness.
No.
But I like it. It's kind of nice to put on the background. And there's no, you know, when you don't want to watch anything that's like going to disturb you, or, you know, you're not that, you know, scare you or bother you, whatever. It's Gilmore Girls. But anyway, I don't know if I've really watched anything else. I'm trying to think.
I know. It's been kind of a slow month for me.
It has.
I started rewatching From so I can start watching season 3. Mm-hmm. And then maybe we'll talk about it.
Maybe. A year later. And the next season doesn't come out until like 2026.
See, we have plenty of time.
You're good. But that's what pisses me off about stuff these days. It's like they just come out so late. Back in the day, they used to have Game of Thrones coming out every year.
Yeah.
You knew in the fall, new season of Game of Thrones.
That's true.
And that was a production, okay? That was one of the most expensive shit.
On the other hand.
What are you doing? It's just, I don't know. I don't know what the contracts are with streaming services now, but it's like now that they're not on like primetime television and like cable, it's like they don't have that urgency anymore. There's no like demand. It's like, okay, we'll put out a season. We'll wait a year or two, see what happens. Yeah. Oh, let's renew it now. Oh, and now we have to think of the whole second season because we didn't the first time. It's just stuff like that. And it's just, there's a level of when you're in the groove of the show and after 2-3 years are passing plus, just let it go.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they need to do. People, oh, there's a strike. I know they had the strike, the writer's strike, but that was like, that's not what we're talking about here. The writer's strike was less than a year. We're not going to say that Stranger Things is because of the writer's strike. We're not going to say all these shows are taking 2-3 years because of the writer's strike. Some might have been delayed. I get it, but delayed. Not pushed back 2-3 years. Sorry, this shit pissed me off. Every single show I watch, they do not come out on time. Do you have a show that comes out yearly?
Oh,
no. Get it together. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. I'm done. If you like things that come out slow as fuck, you'll love our YouTube and podcast and videos, and you'll love us.
Great wrap up. Let us know what you've been watching down below. If you've watched anything, how'd you feel about Severance? Are you slowing down? Are you losing steam? Is there so much going on that you really don't care? Same in the world.
Right.
Anyways, we don't know what we're going to be talking about next time.
Nope.
But when we watch it, we'll talk about it.
You'll know.
And we'll do it all together. All over again. Bye.